I'm gonna try out a new tripod, so I'm hoping that you guys can see what I'm doing. I've had a ton of questions about resin work and my resin coasters in particular. So I'm gonna give you a quick overview of what you need. I use my little handy dandy level to make sure I have a level surface and the bubbles in the center. All right, I get these graduated cups from Amazon that have the measurements right on them, and I think you can see that. So having a level surface is very important. Having exact measurements is very important, and stirring it. And I usually stir it for at least 3 minutes, and I keep going back through the sides. I run my stick up and down so that the resin and the hardener are completely mixed. And you want to use, the resins that I use, it's equal amounts resin and hardener. So you want to make sure that you try to really keep those amounts about as consistent and accurate as possible. And then, like I said, I have already stirred this for a couple of minutes, and I'm coming back in here and stirring it again. You will see a lot of air bubbles. I'm not sure if you can see this here. Yeah, there you go. And that's okay. It'll have air bubbles, but they'll come up. Now, I get these molds. I got this one here from Michaels. It was in the baking aisle. If you don't feel like going to Michaels, you can get something like this at Amazon, if I can get it out of the package. Lord have mercy. This thing is just stuck in here and not coming out. But you can also order different molds on Amazon, and this is pretty much the same thing. All right, it's just a standard coaster mold. Besides Amazon and Michaels, you can go on Wish, and they have all these cute little molds to make bowls. Becky has adorable molds to make druzy quartz. You can go on Resin Obsession and get these cute little flower molds and some gorgeous plastic molds, like this one's a seahorse. You can get these flat bowl silicone molds for resin. You can go online at Amazon and get these silicone molds that are in more of a hexagon, hexagon shape, I guess. So your choices are limitless with that. Now, the one thing I'm going to do on this particular video is work with alcohol inks, because I've had so many questions. And I like resin work pretty much as much as I like acrylics. Now, the other thing you're going to need, and I find this is such a time saver and you will save your molds, is an epoxy mold release, okay? And you spray that in and you wait a few minutes and it kind of dries up so you can't see it, but it's still there. And you need your little handy dandy torch that you use for acrylics. Now, I also use little skewers or toothpicks sometimes. So what I'm gonna do is I've mixed up 6 ounces of resin, because each one of these molds takes pretty much exactly 2 ounces. So I'm just gonna start getting this poured in here and fill it close to the top, but not 100%. And do that with each one of these 3. And I usually do 3 at a time. Since each one takes about 2 ounces of resin, I usually make batches of 6 ounces of resin, and then make some more and turning the mold around and keep going. So we're gonna empty this out. I hate to waste a single drop of resin because it's so expensive, but it's also so pretty. And so, like I said, I'm hoping that I answer most of everybody's questions, and I hope people don't fear it so much that they don't try it, because I think that if you do try working with resin, it's absolutely amazing. It's so much fun. And like I said, I like it literally as much as acrylics because you can create such things of beauty. I always keep a little, either a pea pad or a garbage bag over here on the floor. You do want to use rubber gloves with this. And you do not want to try to get your face too close to it and breathe it. So once you have it, you'll see a million little air bubbles. So we're just going to go in here with the torch, and we're going to be doing this several times throughout the video. And we're just going to torch some of these bubbles out. And more bubbles will continue to rise as you work with it. And that's okay because they will eventually all come up or just get incorporated to everything. So I have a variety of alcohol inks in here. Some of these are from Ice Resin. Some of these are Jacquard. And this one here is the most important one to use. This is the Jacquard Blanco. That's going to make the magic happen. And then I have some here by, oh Lord, I know the name of it and I can't think of it. Ranger. I have some Ranger inks. So you can mix and match your inks up pretty good with whatever colors you choose. So just have an odd variety of colors here, and we're going to play with them today. We're not going for anything overly particular, but what we're going to start doing, and I'm going to torch this again, is start layering some of our colors. So I'm going to take, here we have a nice Pinata Blue by Jacquard. So I'm going to put this in my first mold and just put a couple of drops in there. Now, I'm going to use the Pinata from my big bottle. It's a little bit fresher. This one here is pretty much done. And I'm going to put a little pipette in here and bring it over here, and I'm going to put one drop in the center of each color. All right, so that, actually, if you watch this, this is like a phenomenal science project to watch how it continues to expand and explode, and the way it will sink under the color and so forth. It's just really cool. And then I have some here by Ranger. This is called Wild Plum. So I'm just going to be doing a variety of different things. So now I've got my plum in between my blue, and I will come back in here with my white and just put a drop in each of these areas. And let's see what I feel like doing. Why don't we come in here with a little bit of yellow? Put some yellow right in the center. I'm going to put 2 drops of yellow in the center, which means I'm going to put 2 drops of white in the center. 1, 2, oh, there we go. I have this lovely lime green color by Jacquard. I haven't used it yet, but I put a little slit in the top so I can get my pipette in here, hopefully, and just get a little bit out. And that's way, way, way too much. So I'm going to come in here and just put a little bit of green in a couple of places. And we're going to come back in here again with the white. So right now this is going to be sort of like a rainbow color. I'm going to put pretty much all sorts of wonderful colors in here. Now we're going to come back in between everything. We're going to put a drop of orange in the center. And then I'm going to put orange over here. So now we have that going. And we're going to come back in here with our white. Whoops. Which once in a while it happens, you get an extra drop in there. It's not going to hurt anything. Let's see, what haven't I done yet? I want to come in here with some purple. So we're going to come in here with some purple on top of where I'd had the blue and the orange. And I'm just doing a few random drops, you know, in no particular order. And then I'm going back in with the white. And I'm going to come in here with, what else have we not used? This is a pretty color. This is by Ranger. It's called Stream. And I'm sorry for the glare. It's the day and the windows. but I'm gonna just come in here between where I just put the other colors and throw a few drops. And it does take a little bit of time to do these and layer them, but it's not that bad. What you get out of it for the time you spend is phenomenal. It's just so pretty. And let's see. This is by Ice Resin. It's called Low Light. So I'm going to come in here and do, it's a slightly lighter sort of ice blue color. I'm going to do a drop in the center, a drop over here, drop over here, drop over here. And you can already start to see how the colors are layering and starting to meld. And like I said, the white is the real magic because that helps you to separate the colors, and the white will fall down and drag some of the color with it. Let me see if I can get this up without screwing up. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to bring this up so you can try to see, hopefully, how this starts to look. Oops. And I usually keep paper towels close by, just in case I drop anything, which I just did on one of my molds, but that's okay. No harm done. So I think we're going to leave this one for a few minutes and let it continue. I'll bring it back up. You can see how the white is, whoops. I need to move that out of the way. You can see how the white is already starting to recede, and you see a variety of colors up there. So this will do fine on its own, but if you want to create a little more interest, I use a skewer or a toothpick. I usually have toothpicks available, but I have a couple of skewers right now. And just run the skewer around in a little circle, and then come over here, oops, and wipe it off. And that gives you a little bit of interest to the pattern. So we're going to continue on with these, and I'm going to run the torch over this for a minute, again, to get the bubbles out. And I think I'm going to come in here with reds and blues. We're going to do one that's red, white, and blue. So I've got my reds. I'm going to come in here with some white. If you get an extra drop of white, that's not the end of the world. It still works out pretty. And I'm going to go right between them with blue, and right in the middle with the blue. And come back over here with my white. And then I really want to keep this with pretty much whites and blues, reds and blues. All right, so I have Ice Resin Hacienda. So I'm going to throw the Hacienda in on top of the reds, which will create sort of a purplish color, which is cool. I like that. But the colors don't mix quite as much as they would in acrylics, because you're putting that layer of white in between everything. And you're using the white to kind of separate the colors a little bit. Yep. Got a little too much red in there, but that's all right. A little extra color never hurts anything, so just put a little extra white on. There we go. And I'm going to come back in here with, which blue am I going to use now? I think I'll go back in here with the Hacienda, and I'm going to put that right in the center. And I really, really wish you guys could see this through my eyes, because it's literally like watching the most awesome science project, watching these colors and the white kind of go through the color and so forth. And I'm just going to keep coming in here with layers of color. And I've already sprayed these with silicone mold release. Not silicone, mold release. So I'm pretty confident these will be fine to get out of the mold. So I'm gonna let this sit for a second and see how that does. And then maybe we'll swirl that. And while this is still percolating, I'm gonna come in here and I think I'm gonna do blues and browns again. I tend to like blues and browns sometimes a lot because they're such complementary colors to each other. And I might put a touch of yellow in there, but we're gonna come in here with the Hacienda. And I'm gonna do this a little bit quicker. So I've got my colors in there. We're gonna come back in with the white. There we go. So now I'm gonna go back in with the blue, and I'm gonna go in with the blue right on top of where I put the browns. And I'm gonna grab my brown and put it on top of where I had the blues. There we go. And this one here is still percolating, believe it or not. You're still seeing changes within it, which is really cool. I'm not sure if I'm going to swirl that one or not. I'll give it a few minutes to do its thing, and then I'll figure out what I want to do with it. Now, you can keep doing this as much as you want to layer your colors, and you can actually kind of go in between where you see that there's no color yet, and throw a little bit extra in there. It's really up to your imagination. It's up to your color palette. It's up to what you like. There's no right or wrong set of colors. It's just a layering of colors to get the effects that you want. Now I'm going to come back in here with the darker blue. This is Sapphire. All right. And this is looking really, really pretty. And we're going to come back in here with some white. I'm going to put a little extra white on this. And I'm going to throw another touch of white over here because some of these are kind of dark. And lighten them up just a touch. And now I'm going to come back in here in the center with some brown. So, and on top of the brown, I'm going to put my white again. So now this one's kind of still working on itself, and this one's still got a long ways to go. But I think I'm going to come in here and just give this one a very gentle swirl. And pardon my arm in your way, but grab my little skewer here. And so that one's looking really good. And this one here, I'm just waiting for the white to start sinking down and to see whether or not I want more color in there or not. I'm really pretty happy with these first two. So I'm going to let this continue, and I might not swirl this one. I might need a little bit more color in it, but I probably won't swirl it. I think I'm starting to get some really interesting patterns on the top. And again, I wish you guys could see this through my eyes because it's absolutely stunning. So, and I am so sorry about the lighting. You know what? While this stuff is kind of percolating and doing its thing, let me go see if I can turn on the light and get some of the glare from outside. It's an overcast day, but believe it or not, I've got terrible glare. So I'm going to go over here and turn the light on, and maybe you guys can see a little bit better. Hopefully. Let there be light. So let's try this again, and hopefully you guys can see this a little bit better. So this is what I just did. I'm trying to keep these level, which I know I'm not doing a very good job of. So I'm going to put it down. And I'm going to bring the camera down to you guys. Pardon my gloved hands. But let's see. There we go. There's this one, and this one. So as you can see, it's actually not that hard. Like I said, keeping it level surface, measuring exactly equal parts. stirring it really well, and then, you know, and putting mold release in your molds. That is definitely a definite time saver, because I've had a couple of times when the alcohol ink gets too close to the outside, it will stick to the mold. And then when I'm trying to get my piece out of the mold, it, I can't see with them and I can't see without them, it will rip the mold. So the mold release is definitely a good idea. Hopefully you guys like this. I'm going to try to turn you down here one more time and see these. And we'll see how these come out. I'll try to do a video tomorrow morning of releasing them. I'm going to flip this around and do a few more, okay? Have fun, and I hope you really try it. It's really a lot of fun. Bye, guys.